Let us be attentive to a word from our Lord. Joseph said to his brothers, "I am Joseph. Is my father still alive?" But his brothers could not answer him. So dismayed were they at his presence. Then Joseph said to his brothers, "Come closer to me." And they came closer. He said, "I am your brother Joseph, whom you sold into Egypt. And now do not be distressed or angry with yourselves, because you sold me here. For God sent me before you to preserve life. For the famine has been in the land these 2 years, and there are 5 more years in which there will be neither plowing nor harvest. God sent me before you to preserve for you a remnant on earth, and to keep alive for you many survivors. So it was not you who sent me here, but God. He has made me a father to Pharaoh, and Lord of all his house, and ruler over all the land of Egypt. Hurry, go up to my father and say to him, 'Thus says your son Joseph, God has made me Lord of all Egypt. Come down to me and do not delay. You shall settle in the land of Goshen, and you shall be near me, you and your children and your children's children, as well as your flocks, your herds, and all that you have. I will provide for you there, since there are 5 more years of famine to come, so that you and your household and all that you have will not come to poverty." In verse 15. And he kissed all his brothers and wept upon them, and after that his brothers talked with him. This is the word of our Lord.
Thanks be to God.
Let us pray. Holy God, may the words of my mouth and the meditations of all our hearts here today be holy and acceptable to you, O Lord, our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. Most of us know generally the story of Joseph, but we're going to spend a quick moment recapping it. I've always loved this story, this portion of Genesis, because it was my Hebrew exegesis class in seminary, which meant we had to translate the entire Joseph story from Hebrew into English and then interpret it, which, for anybody that's curious, is not fun. Hebrew is not a language that's very enjoyable to work with. But let's take a minute and recap Joseph's story. So you have Joseph. A while back, him and his brothers are living off in a far land outside of Egypt. They're the sons of Jacob and 2 separate women, the sisters, Leah and Rachel. That is a whole other story for a whole other time. The 12 boys help their father with the flocks and the herds and caring for all their livestock. But this younger brother Joseph, he's a pretty good kid. He's a pretty talented kid. He's the favorite. Because he's not only the favorite as a child, but he's the favorite of the favorite wife. He's Rachel's son. He's the youngest. Dad loves him so dearly. So Dad gives him a coat of long sleeves. We can go with many colors too. So he gets the coat of many colors or long sleeves, whatever you want to go with, whatever interpretation it is. It shows how much Daddy loves him. Daddy just thinks the world of Joseph. But see, Joseph's not only Dad's favorite, but he's given a gift by God. He dreams and interprets dreams. Now, we've all been around dreamers, right? They'd be a little bit annoying. They have their lot. I dreamed and I saw this and we should just go for it. You're like, whoa, pragmatist here. Let's slow it down. We got to get some plans. We can't just go for this. But not only does he have these dreams, but these are dreams of grandeur. Joseph dreams that the stars, there's 12 stars, and they bow before him, and even the sun and the moon bow before him. Now, if I'm to interpret this dream as an older brother going, whoa, there's a way things work here. I get Dad's stuff before you get Dad's stuff. You already are the favorite, Joseph. So I'm a little frustrated. I'm a little annoyed. I'm going to be honest. Joseph's a little irritable to me. I get irritated by him because he comes off as an arrogant, self-righteous. He can get up under the skin. He thinks he's so great with his dreams and his coat. I kind of get where his brothers come from. Now, I don't know about killing the kid, but maybe maybe being a little irritated at him is one thing. So we come to the portion where his dad is talking with him, and Jacob and Joseph, and he says, Joseph, why don't you go help your brothers? Whoa, let's do a timeout. He's not even helping the brothers with the livestock. He just gets to hang out with dear old dad back home and do nothing. Go help your brothers. So he goes. And all this time, the other 11 are probably ruminating on the fact that Joseph is not here. He's not helping. He's dreaming these dreams that even mom and dad are going to bow down before him. He gets the fancy coat, and all I get is knee-deep in sheep stuff. So he meets his brothers. And they come up with a plot, a grand plot, to murder him. Just get rid of him. Bump him off. There's nothing to lose. There's nothing to gain. We can just get rid of the kid. We don't have to hear from him. But Reuben, the older brother, maybe a little more compassionate brother, says, let's not kill him. Probably shouldn't kill him. But rather, let's throw him in a pit and sell him to some traders. So we sell him off. We get rid of dear old Joseph. Send him off. Don't have to worry about him. And then we tell Dad he's dead because we take that fancy coat that he's got, we cover it in sheep's blood and show, oh, Dad, the wild animals killed him. So now Joseph is long gone. He's in Egypt. He's sold into slavery in Potiphar's house. And I don't know where the flip happens in Joseph's life, but all of a sudden he's a hard worker. He's a good worker. He's a good man. And he works for Potiphar, and Potiphar then sees how good he is and says, you know what? You're going to be the head of all of my slaves, and you're going to be in charge of my whole household. In fact, I'm not even going to call you a slave. You're a paid servant now. Joseph's also a good-looking man. Potiphar's wife notices. And she says, Joseph, sleep with me. And Joseph says, no, I'm okay. So again, she comes on to him and she says, sleep with me. And Joseph says, no, I'm real good on this one. I like my job. I like not being dead. This is okay. And a third time, he denies her. And he runs away and she grabs his cloak, leaving him naked, for one, running from her. And she tells her husband, Potiphar, he forced himself upon me. He took advantage of me. See, I have his cloak. Potiphar, believing his wife, throws Joseph in jail. And Joseph prays, and Joseph waits, and he sits in jail. And I don't think jail is quite like it is these days. Not that it's great, but I think it's kind of a hole in the ground with some bars over it. You may get fed, you may not get fed. But he prays. He recognizes God in his midst. And then these two gentlemen come, the cupbearer and the baker from Pharaoh, and may not be too terribly good at their job if they're in jail. Pharaoh has a dream. 7 cows. Well, first, actually, we'll go back. The baker and the cupbearer have dreams. And Joseph interprets them. The cupbearer is to be killed. Flip that. The baker is to be killed, and the cupbearer is to live. And that's exactly what happens. But he says, when you go from here, remember me. Remember what I've done for you. You know what happens? He's forgotten. Pretty standard. Now Pharaoh has the dream and no one can interpret it. And there are heads rolling left and right because no one is interpreting this dream. And finally the cupbearer clicks in his head and he remembers, oh, a guy in prison. So he brings him to Pharaoh and Joseph interprets the dream and builds it out for Pharaoh and says, I also have a plan how to make this not so. And Pharaoh says, do tell me your plan. So he solves the famine crisis in Egypt. Becomes the merchant leader, then becomes a high political leader, becomes Pharaoh's number 2, which actually really makes him number 1 of Egypt, because Pharaoh just kind of does what he's told, because he's probably like 12 to 14 years old. And now he's in charge. And he's saving the people from the famine, and his brothers come because they hear that there is food in Egypt. And his response is, my brothers are here. His response is anger, hatred. He doesn't want to see them. So he tricks them. He puts a cup in the new youngest brother's sack, the new favorite, Rachel's new baby. takes him into prison and holds him. But somewhere along the way, he realizes that this is not the right way, and they go back because they can't dare go back and tell Jacob that the new favorite son that's been taken captive in Egypt is probably going to die. So they go back. Joseph's heart is softened, and we have our story today. Reconciliation. I am Joseph, your brother, the one that you sold into Egypt, but you didn't do it. God did it. God sent me here to make sure that there is a remnant of people to save life. It wasn't you, but God who did this to me. I forgive you. I love you. Is Dad still alive? Please tell me my father is still alive. The reconciliation happens after the older brothers admit what they have done, and Joseph loves them. Like I said, this is not Joseph's initial reaction. The forgiveness, the reconciliation. The initial reaction is, I should give them what they deserve. Fair is fair, right? Should return to them what they gave me. Violence for violence and hate for hate. This all starts, this whole story starts with some Brady Bunch style resentment. Marcia. Why does Joseph get the coat? Why does he dare to dream dreams? Why does he get it? Why does she get it? This resentment fills the hearts of the older brothers. Why is he the favorite? I worked just as hard. I didn't get a chance. It's the idea of keeping score. Right? Well, I did this for you, so I should get. We have a deal. If I do this, then you do this. And if you don't fulfill your portion of the bargain, then I'm doubling up. And I'm just going to chalk it 1, 2. I've done this 37 times. And what have you done? It's human nature to keep a score. To mark it up what someone else has got or how you've been treated. To mark it against them. To never see beyond that. This is a rule when I do premarital counseling. I look at the couple and I say, don't keep score. Seriously. It's hard enough to be in a relationship with someone that you live with each other and you do all this, but if you keep score and you put it on your little mental chalkboard of how many times you've done X, Y, and Z and they haven't done A, B, and C, it's going to be hard. The older brothers resent Joseph. They keep score. It's not worthwhile. It leads us into a life of retribution. We demand, I was treated this way, then you should be treated this way. Here's the thing though. The golden rule is be treated, treat others like you want to be treated. And someone treats me poorly, I should just return that, right? Because that's how I want to be treated. Because when I screw up, I want someone to return the evil for evil. It's hard. It's difficult not to be resentful and to be people who seek retribution. We heard it today. Melissa, I really appreciate you going with the gospel today. That was money. That was well done. But we also hear from Paul. He says, do not repay anyone evil for evil, but take for what is noble in the sight of all. Do not repay evil for evil. I'll be honest, it's hard. It's hard for a person like me, my personality type, because fair is fair. Right is right. Wrong is wrong. And if you wrong me, then you deserve fair is fair. I work hard. How come I can't? Like they can. They don't even have jobs. Fair is fair. Do not repay anyone